You could say that my path to the rabbinate began 2 years ago when I logged into Zoom for the first time, not knowing what kind of experience would be waiting for me on the other side of the screen. Or maybe it was 3 years ago when I first heard about this radical place in LA called AJRCA that was ordaining people to be clergy, period. Not Reformed clergy or conservative clergy, just clergy ready to serve. I could argue that I first stepped onto the path in 1997 when I couldn't decide between JTS Cantorial School or Rabbinical School at Ziegler. Or maybe it all started way back in 1985 when I was already wrestling with questions of God and faith as a 10-year-old girl. So I suppose I've been called to this path for a very long time, and yet I somehow don't feel prepared at all. My moment of greatest revelation at school was, ironically, a moment in which I found myself arguing with the altar Rabbi of all people, with the father of the Chabad movement and the author of the great mystical work called the Tanya. In the Tanya, the altar Rebbe explains that all people are born with two souls, an animal soul and a godly soul, and that these two souls are constantly at war with one another. The goal of life, if such a thing is possible, is to tame the animal soul, to give our godly soul such precise and constant attention that our lusts and urges that are often expressed in animal ways are instead given over to God. This concept of two souls struck me so profoundly that I couldn't sleep. On the one hand, it felt so very right, so true to my own experience of being alive that it sang out within me. On the other hand, it goes entirely against my vision of how the world is meant to be redeemed. Yes, we should all strive to be the very best people we can be and to listen to our higher impulses whenever possible. But where I find myself struggling is with the idea that we are meant to live with a war waging within us at all times, and that the war is between a good part of us and a bad part of us, a part that is holy and a part that is not. This idea that we are divided rather than one, that we are split intentionally, that God made us this way, feels so deeply wrong that it has appeared in my writing and thoughts since the first moment I read it. The older I get, and the more I see the world falling to pieces around us, the more I believe that the answer cannot possibly be to see the world as divided. The only way to healing, to seeing the other as beautiful and as a reflection of God's presence in this world, is by believing that we are all one with each other and one within ourselves. My Judaism is one in which no movement, Reform, conservative, Orthodox, none is better than the other. My Judaism is born out of not just equality, but out of a yearning for the divided sides to reach towards one another, for male and female, Republican and Democrat, immigrant and native-born people to realize that peace depends on us understanding that we cannot be at war with one another. I see God in the holy and the mundane and in everything in between. That is my Judaism, and that will be the foundation of my rabbinate. That is the Torah that I feel unfolding within me as I step onto this incredibly auspicious and holy path. To AJRCA, to B'nai Tikva, to my friends and family, and especially to Steve, Ezra, Levi, and Judah, thank you for being on this journey with me and for believing, maybe even before I did, that I was meant to become Rabbi Chabon.